Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is so good to be here another Monday morning. I am so glad that you could make it today. Listen, I am so glad we made it another week, y'all. We did it. We did it. We did it. Listen, this weekend was it was restful for me. It was peaceful and productive. So I want to know how you're coming in today. Show me what you got. Show me what you got. How are you coming in today? How are you arriving today? What's arising for you at this beginning of a beautiful week in June? Tell me what's arriving for you. Put it in the chat, put it in the chat, put it in the chat. And while you're doing that, if you have anybody that you can think of that is in the middle, the beginning, or at the end of something, go ahead and text them right now. Get them into the call this morning. We are going to continue our series of the art of the pivot. But throughout fresh start, that's what I'm loving, a fresh start. We're going to talk through not just the art of the pivot. And if you remember, I'm just going to do an overview for who else is showing up. How are you showing up? How are you showing up? Clarity. Let's go, Sabrina. Clarity, clarity, clarity. I love this. I love this. I love this. So, what I want to do is give a quick overview while you are new beginnings. Let's go. Let's go. You're feeling new beginnings on the horizon. I love that. I love that. I love that. You are in the right place. First of all, for those of you who are new to the group, let me share with you just a blurb. I never can get this elevator speech the same. But here's why I want you to know that we're here. This is a low pressure, safe space container for highly productive, high achieving, high performing women who are accustomed to giving their all outwardly, but are shortchanging themselves inwardly. So, this container, this group, this community that we have created is one that I want you to feel like you can come here and be your absolute self. You do not have to perform, you don't have to pretend, you don't have to hold back. You're not too little, you're not too much. This is a safe space to be. This is where the leader in you transforms into the human in you. So just take a breath this morning to just receive that, to allow the new beginnings and the clarity and the fresh start, which is the theme, it seems like, for the day, to really just land in this space. Because you are here, you bring energy. You bring something to the room, and it's okay. Sometimes we bring all of our elevation, and sometimes we just bring ourselves at our low points, our frustrated points. We bring ourselves at our doubtful points, at our disappointed points, and they're all good because guess what? We're not going to all have the same thing going on the same day. So the only thing that I ask you to do is when you're high vibing, just share that with our sisters in this community who may not be as high vibing on that day. That's the one request that I will make. Other than that, there are no expectations of you in this room, in this space, in this container. Um, oh, here's somebody saying I was unexpectedly laid off with less than desirable severance package, an environment that wanted me to shrink my personality. Hey, listen, you're in the right place today. You actually are in the right place today. So before we get into it, Hamza, can you change the speaker view, switch us out? I don't know if I need to make you. I have somebody supporting me today. If I need to make you host or what? Oh my goodness, he may or may not be there anymore, but it's okay. Ask maybe he can make me host because I don't want to deal with that. So you're in the right place. We have can you make me speaker only view? We are in the midst of we talked about the new moon. We talked about um just change in the horizon. Some of it, everyone, I want you to start paying attention to things that have been given to us universally at the spirit on the spiritual realm, things that have been given to us as markers and cues and alerts and things that we don't often pay attention to because we're so busy. We're moving 100 miles an hour. We're constantly involved in so many different things that a lot of times we're functioning on autopilot. We are high performing on autopilot. And I want you to start to pay attention to things that are going on around you. And I really want you to even pay attention to seasons of the year. And we'll probably spend some time on this a little bit later. But I want you to understand that different seasons, even just the seasons that we experience in the agrarian calendar, these things mean something to us because we're spiritual beings and we have to be in attention to that. So spring begins a refreshing for us. And when we go into the summer season, there's a bit of breath of fresh air. There's an opening. There's a almost like even like you said, new beginnings. It's a chance to really accelerate and elevate in the things that are um, strong and wanting to be present for us. So I like that you're sharing that, Sabrina, because this is a season, not just we say season in life, but this is a season that can bring some new things to you in the allowance of that. So before we go any deeper, I know that was a broad stroke. I want you to just start with our deep inhale and exhale. Our breath is always going to take us there. It's going to take us to that quiet space. It's going to take us to that calm space. It's going to take us to that releasing space. It's going to take us to that invigorating space, all at the same time. Whatever you need, your breath is there to support you. So I want you to just, if you will, if you can, close your eyes. We're just going to drop into this space even more. We're going to drop into this space even more. Close your eyes if you can, or if you choose. Otherwise, just fix your eyes on one thing that's not moving. It could be a spot on the carpet. It could be a picture on your wall. It could be a plant on the shelf. Fix your eyes there and hold there. And as you prepare, let's do our box breathing again. I think that's a good one for today. The box brings us full square. So let's start now. A deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for 4. Out through your nose. Hold it for 4. In through your nose. Hold it for 4. Exhale. Hold it for 4. This time I want you to inhale through your nose for 4. And then exhale through your mouth for 4, as deep as you can. Now inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Hold it there. Inhale through your mouth. Exhale through your nose. Inhale through your mouth. Exhale through your nose. Last time, we're going to inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Deep, 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 deep. Blow, 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 blow. Inhale through the nose. Hold it as long as you can. And then exhale through the mouth. Return to your regular breath pattern. Take a nice deep one, just in and out. It's a sigh breath. Feel it in the back of your throat, even. I'm sensing that we need some breaths in this room. Sigh it out. One more time. Deep one in. And just sigh it out. Good job. Good job. Good job, everyone. All right, now we're ready. Now we're ready. I felt like we had to level set for a moment. We had to level set. Now we are ready. Are y'all feeling even more refreshed? You're feeling more present. Say yes, say yes, say yes. Yes in the chat. Yes, feeling more present, feeling more level set. I love that. I love that. I love that. So, what we want to do is good. Your daughter's listening. Yes, this is for her now. Gosh, this will be just like regular day's work for her. It'll be a part of her routine. We started with the art of the pivot. In the first week, we just talked about life changes. I encourage any of you who may not have seen week 1 for June to go back and do the replay for that one. When life changes. That's often where we find ourselves at the front doorstep of a pivot. The next week, we talked about the purpose of the pivot. The purpose of the pivot for us is simply to move. It's not perfection. It's not absolute strategy. It is to move. That's the purpose. That it just takes us into movement. And this week, as we explore the power of the pivot, the power of the pivot, I want you to get your journals now, get your notepads, get your sticky notes if you can, because we're going to use them. We are going to use them today because we are going into the power of the pivot. How many of y'all ready? Give me some claps give me some claps. Give me some claps if you're ready for this lesson. Because the power of the pivot is really, really cool. And it's so empowering. It's so empowering. It's so empowering. The power of the pivot reminds us that we're not caught off guard. We feel like it sometimes. We feel like we're stuck. We feel like we've been knocked off of our square. But sometimes there's so much power in a pivot that you're stronger than you think until you get into a pivot position. The power of the pivot is not that it specifically changes your destination, but it actually strengthens your foundation. Sometimes the most important progress in a powerful pivot, it isn't necessarily visible, especially right away. It's not necessarily vivid for our eyes to see right away. Sometimes the powerful pivot moves us deeper before it moves us forward. The power, the power, the power of the pivot. I want y'all to put that in the chat today. Put the power, put power, 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 power. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat because, hey, we are going there today. So I want to share with you something that really brought this topic home for me. Um, I was gardening. Y'all know, for those who've been here, y'all know I've been working on this garden, right? I've been working on this garden. The good things are going well. Y'all know the herbs and all of that stuff has been giving. I've been loving it, using it really practically every day, something out of my herb garden. But I've been working on the bed garden still. And remember, that started in April, right? So I've been working on creating, really, for me, it's this beautiful garden sanctuary. I have the actual renderings of it. I see what the end result will be. I see it in Technicolor, every down to the lighting, down to every pot and planter and the chair that's in the area. This garden sanctuary imagery is deep in my brain. I got this. I got this. And whenever I need a reminder, I go to my phone and say, I look at the photo and I say, oh yeah, this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. So I can see it. I can see the raised beds. I can see the path with the pea gravel. I can see it all. I can see it all. The vegetables, I can see them, starting to take off. Some of it is tall, some of it is a little shorter. I see the finished vision. Just know that. And this weekend, I finally felt like I was making some progress. And every little bit counts because for those of y'all who have gardened outside of container gardening, it's some work, right? It's some work, and you just have to stick with it. So gotta have some stick with itness. Let me just say that. And so I'm working on the garden. I have my shovel and I'm shoveling, and the base of it is sand. So I'm shoveling. Finally, I got the wheelbarrow because I didn't want to have a mound of sand that I was going to have to move. So now I'm putting sand in the wheelbarrow. I got my um, rake and just moving things around. And as I started setting the boxes in place, because I'm at a point where I'm leveling it, I quickly began to realize something after setting the box in place. I wish y'all could see it. I'm looking at it now. Um, I started to realize that the boxes were set on top of the sand soil mix. So like this is the box and it's sitting on top. So as you can see now, it's just a little unstable. It's sitting there, but the slightest change in soil or anything will just cause it to move, just like this. So I realized that, and I determined that I had to do it differently. Instead of sitting it on top, I realized that I was going to actually have to dig trenches for the boxes to be placed into. So I would have to build a trench in between each one of these and essentially press the box down into the soil to get the foundation stable. And as I was doing that, I realized that this is going to change the course a little bit because in my mind, I could see next step, next step, next step. And this seemed like going backwards to me. This seemed like a backward step. It seemed like a setback. And of course, I was admittedly, I ain't gonna kid you, a little frustrated because I wasn't when I set out to work in the garden, I wasn't interested in building, starting over with this soil and this infrastructure. I'm in a hurry to get to the beautiful part. I wanted to see some progress on this day because next steps are already in place, right? But the more I worked on it, the more obvious it became. The strategy just had to change. It just had to change. The strategy, it just had to change. Now, let's just say I could have continued that way. I could have continued with the boxes on top, but deep inside, I knew if I didn't deal with it now, I was going to end up dealing with it later. It just wasn't sustainable. So instead of moving forward, I had to take a step back and I had to set the infrastructure and set the foundation for sustainability. So I had to go deeper. Took a little bit more work, slow down the progress, less visible progress. So I'm standing there, and now it's like the garden wasn't asking me to work faster. The garden was asking me to build deeper. Stay with me because I'm going somewhere. The garden was not asking me to work faster, to hurry up and get to the good part. The garden was compelling me to build deeper. Somebody put in the chat deeper, deeper, deeper. Yeah, I had to just sit with it, stand with it, with my shovel in my hand, sweat on my brow. And that's when it hit me. How many areas of our lives are exactly the same way? How many areas, just let that question sit with you for a moment. Just let that question sit. How many areas of your life, how many areas of my life are exactly the same? It's not saying go faster. It's saying go deeper. Set the foundation. Strengthen the infrastructure. Rebuild. Build a new infrastructure where there was never a foundation. There was activity, but not a foundation. So when when I thought about the power of the pivot that was required here, the pivot wasn't powerful because it made the project any easier. This pivot was powerful because it made the foundation stronger. You feeling me? Are you feeling me? Are you feeling me? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Many women think that a pivot should all of a sudden immediately produce results, just like that. Visible results, noticeable results, quick results, fast results. Don't we think about a pivot like it's supposed to problem solve right away? But the thing that we miss is that the first thing a pivot does, a powerful pivot, is that it brings stability. So, for example, let's say we're pivoting in the workplace or maybe in relationships, better boundaries. That creates more stability, better sleep. That creates better stability, just a better baseline for your health and for your well-being, better finances, maybe pulling back some on the spending and investing more and saving more. That's a strong position. That's a powerful play, right? Sometimes strengthening and stabilizing, even communication, better communication, how we speak to others, how we receive communication from others, but most importantly, how we communicate with ourselves. What's the language that we're using with ourselves every day? Is it powerful or is it punitive? Is the foundation of our communication each day set on our emotions and how we feel that day? What's going well? Okay, it's a good day, so I'm gonna talk it up. And then when it's not so good of a day, we're talking about how we're so behind. We need to catch up. How did I find myself in this position? What's wrong? Why can't I get it right? I never win. Unstable, instability, even in communication. Better self-respect, a powerful pivot, deepening the work, not moving swiftly, but deepening. Some of you may be going to therapy. So you're going, there's activity, but you're talking about the same thing every time you go. Been talking about the same thing, rehashing the past, wishing for something different, wondering how this occurred or that occurred. Some have even become so comfortable in therapy, you chit-chatting with the therapist like you're friends at lunch. It's time to go deeper. If you want better self-respect, it has to come with going deeper. It's not buying a bag. It's not a new purse. It's not a new car. It's not another degree. It's not another certification. Better self-respect, self-love, even self-actualization comes from going deeper, better emotional health, deeper. None of these are flashy, but all of them are foundational. All of this is foundational. It's giving you something to stand on. It's giving you something to stand on. Solid foundation, solid ground. But the problem is we live in a culture that celebrates the fruit, but it ignores the roots. You could write that one down. We celebrate the fruits. I got a this. I earned a that. I own a this. I bought a that. with our children, that's the fruit. They're going to Yale, they're going to Harvard, they're going, and but where are their roots? What's the strength of the roots that allows us to send them there and not worry about them every hour? Where are the roots that if one of the fruits of our labor was no longer there, our roots are so strong that we're sure that we'll bear more fruit. We're not knocked off our square if we lose one fruit. That's just room for more. When the roots are strong and viable and healthy and robust, we can't afford to ignore the roots just so we can brag about the fruits. This is the opportunity to stabilize. So where the roots are strong, we we know that life is not going to knock us over. It's not going to wash us through the river. It's not going to cause us to topple off of a mountain. When the roots are strong, we know we have survivability. In fact, we even have thriveability. So let's get beyond celebrating the promotion, the weight loss, the relationship, the success. And let's really, really, really begin to honor, celebrate, develop the internal work that makes these things possible. I want you to take a moment to reflect. This is maybe a journaling moment. Take a moment to just reflect. The reflection is, what am I building? What am I building right now? What are you sowing into right now? Breathe with that for me. Let's breathe. Let's take an inhale and an exhale. A long sigh, exhale. Give me two more. Give yourself two more. Sigh it out. Shoulders should be loosening with this. One more. And let the shoulders drop down and just sigh. What are you building right now? Is it health? Is it finally deciding it's time to get your health in order? Is it finally time to pay attention to your body, to give it some airtime, to focus with intention on your health and well-being? Is it time to stop ignoring the aches and pains and the busy schedule that keeps us from our mammograms and colonoscopies and dental exams and even just pre-diabetes and high blood pressure, the things that we just say, well, it runs in my family, but it can stop running in your family with intention. Those extra pounds that keep collecting, Is it time to build a better body? Is it time to focus on getting a strong foundation in your health and well-being? Because remember, every decade we're sowing into the next decade. So whatever you want to see in your 50s, you better be working on it in your 40s. Whatever you want to see in your 50s and in your 60s, you better be working on it in your 50s. If you want to be strong, if you want to be lean, if you want to be nimble, if you want to have good balance, if you want to be active, there's no better time than now. What are you building in peace? Is there something that has just been such a frustrating and energy drain in your life that it's time now to go deeper, to get to the peace? That the peace is not in a short vacation, it's not in a trip, it's not in a shopping spree, it's not in a ice cream binge, that you got to go deeper to build a peaceful infrastructure. Your business, are you building a business right now? You're building a relationship. Many as couples begin to that empty nesting route, that pathway to empty nesting, it's all good when they're going off to college and they got nice rooms, but when the house is empty and you realize it's just the two of you again, and you've lost sight of each other. Don't even know if you really like this person. You've been busy building externally, but passing each other internally. Confidence. Are you building confidence in this season? You've lived without it. You function without it. You've survived without it. But now you're ready to take confidence to a new level. This next season in your life is calling for a greater sense of belief, a greater sense of self, a greater sense of authority, a greater sense of knowing. Are you building confidence right now? Maybe retirement, another chapter. Write it down. Take this moment to write it down. And then we ask, what foundation does that future require? What's required for your health, your peace, strong relationships, a new business venture, more confidence, or whatever else you've chosen? What foundation does that require? What skills? What boundaries? Boundaries, y'all gonna hear that a lot. What habits have to be built? What old habits have to be released? And what new habits need to be developed? What mindset? What's the mindset that's going to be required for a strong foundation? Who is it going to require you to become? You know, we've done the series on becoming. Who do you get to become in order to strengthen the foundation that you need for the next season, for what you're building right now? Last week, we talked about mindset, movement, momentum, and I'm glad to know that many of you came in today with clarity. This week, I want to add something to that because mindset can never be underestimated or overlooked. We can be scurrying around doing the things, but what's the mindset behind it? What's the mindset? In this instance, I want you to think about mindset as the connection that's going to determine where we place our value. Because that's how we're going to stick our mindset onto what it is that we're building. And the strengthening of the foundation is going to tell us where we place the value. How so? Because we're going to stick with it even if the fruit is slow to bear. That foundation is so important that we're going to stick with it. And in fact, we're going to step away from measuring the fruit only because we can get discouraged. We could get discouraged if you're walking every day for the last 6 weeks and I still haven't lost any weight. Well, is walking bad? Keep going. We're measuring the outcome before we measure the habit, the strength in the foundation. Where are we placing the value? There are other benefits. Are you getting stronger? Are your lungs getting better? Are you feeling more relaxed? Are you sleeping better? We've got to learn to place the value where it belongs. We are often measuring the wrong things. We measure how fast, how much, how soon, how visible, instead of how stable, how aligned, how sustainable, how healthy. Sometimes the most powerful pivot even is not changing your goal. It's not changing the goal. It's change how we measure or what we call progress, right? It's changing what we call progress. In many ways, if we start to look at what progress really shows up as, especially for us high achieving, high performers, those who are accustomed to high delivery, high impact, sometimes progress as a foundational principle, sustainable, stable, thorough. Sometimes progress is learning to ask for help. It's not bearing it all. It's not carrying it all. It's not even having to get all the glory for it, the recognition. Asking for help. Sometimes progress is leaving on time. That would be good for me. Leaving on time. Leaving on time, but also leaving in time. Leaving in time before you've outstayed your welcome, before you've burned out, before you've experienced workplace trauma, before you've been abused again, verbally, mentally, emotionally. Sometimes progress is leaving in time. Sometimes it's saying no. You got that 20 something, 30 something year old who's constantly needing a bailout. Give me this, give me that. I want, I need. Sometimes it's no, stand on your own 2 feet. Sometimes it's helping them establish a strong foundation by saying no. Sometimes it's going to therapy, but not just going to therapy, but going to therapy with intention, being clear on what you want to accomplish, to achieve, to experience, to explore. What are you curious about when you go to therapy? As things interrupt your week or your month before you go back to therapy, write it down. Be in your own self-awareness. I've noticed this about myself. Help me break this down. Help me unpack this. Maybe it's time to go deeper. Maybe it's something simple. Progress is drinking your water or having a difficult conversation that's been put off for way too long. That's stability. That's anchoring. Because the woman that you're becoming, the woman, the season that you're calling forward, it's the only reason you're here. You're not here by accident. You're not on this by accident. The woman you're becoming now that you're choosing, it isn't built only through achievements. It's built through foundations. Strong, resilient, healthy, peaceful, scalable, empowering, energizing, intentional foundations. So I know I went over a little bit as we go into the final part of our morning and we just reflect one last time and I'll give it to you. You can write it down. Where in my life am I trying to rush fruit before establishing the roots? Where am I seeking results without infrastructure? Where is life inviting me to go deeper instead of faster? Just pick one of those and explore that this week. Remember, we want roots. This season of our lives, we're strengthening roots. And if the roots need to be uprooted and new roots need to be established because what we were growing then, we're not growing now, pivot, pivot, pivot. The power of the pivot is the foundation. I want you to identify where do you need stronger infrastructure. And then I'm going to give you a few just kind of take home points of action that would support the future that you're creating. Don't worry about getting all of this down now. Check out the replay. It should be up later today on YouTube at DRJADAMD. Maybe some action for strengthening new roots is to schedule the appointment, create the budget, set the boundary, take the walk, go to sleep, protect your sleep, as a matter of fact. Ask for support, journal consistently. You're constantly overthinking and got stuff whirlwinding in your head. Get it out of your head. Put it in the atmosphere. One action, y'all, one foundation can be the biggest investment in your future self. So I want to leave you with the lesson that my garden taught me this weekend is that the most important work is not always what you see. It's not always the visible work. It's what's going on underneath the surface. So let's take a deep breath in, deep breath out, deep breath in, deep breath out. Last breath in. Hold it and blow it slowly out. Thank you for joining me for another weekly exhale. It has been my pleasure to host you today. I'm Dr. Jada, your weight loss and wellness expert, physician coach, speaker, best-selling author, entrepreneur. I help high-achieving women to not only weigh less, but to live life at your best. And in this season, we are building stronger foundations. Thank y'all for coming. Take a moment if you can, the next 5 minutes, to just let this sink in before you rush on to the next task. If you just give it 5 more minutes, if you can give it 5 more minutes, just take these action points. It's so important to take one or two of these action points and just allow it to sink in for you. This time is your time. This is your moment. This is your 45 minutes. It's your hour. It's maybe the only hour you give yourself this week. Be present. It's been my pleasure. And I'll see you next week, next Monday, same place, same time. And be sure to invite a friend. Until next time, remember to exhale.